Multi-time champion rejoins WWE. NXT stars appear at the latest set of TNA TV tapings. A WWE star is tired of talking about AEW, and the premiere date has been revealed for Raw's move to Netflix. Hello and welcome to the Solo Sunday News here at What Culture Wrestling. Myself, Andrew Pollard. I hope you're well. I hope you're good. I hope whatever you are getting up to this weekend, your weekend is going absolutely smashing. Right, let's get into it. Let's get into wrestling talk and let's get into Victoria. Yes, Victoria, Lisa Marie Varon, revealed over the weekend to X during an appearance for Ohio Valley Wrestling. She revealed that she signed a nostalgic contract with WWE. Now, this is the first time I've heard that term used, but she was very specific that it was a nostalgic contract. Essentially, it's a new spin, a new name for the classic Legends deal. So Victoria revealed she'll be getting new action figures. She'll be in video games now for WWE. She would get some new merchandise, and she did the old never say never about possibly stepping back into a WWE ring. So yes, Victoria is back with WWE in that nostalgic Legends capacity. This is someone for me who just, when people look at wrestlers who are kind of overdue a spot in the WWE Hall of Fame, she's right up there for me. Especially if you're looking at the ladies who've yet to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Victoria, right there, debuted in 2000. Supposedly the story goes she was spotted by China, where she was working as a fitness instructor at a gym. China saw her and did the old, like, you should try out to be a wrestler. Before you know it, she was one of the Godfather's hoes, took that crazy table bump back in the day from the Godfather, well, technically from the Goodfather, because that was when he'd turned heel during the Right Center, Right 2 Center, sorry. Repackaged in 2002 as Victoria, two-time WWE Women's Champion, left in 2009 and went over to TNA as Tara, where let's face it, at that point in time, TNA will put in so much more focus on women's wrestling than WWE was, really, in terms of actual in-ring work. And the Knockouts division was just, Tara was such a pivotal part in the success of that. You look at Gail Kim, you look at Awesome Kong. Tara's one of those wrestlers where did her all she could to put the Knockouts division on the map. A 5-time Knockouts champion, a tag team champion as well. Made a brief return to TNA, was it? It would be last year, yeah, as part of Mickie James's the final rodeo. Also, there was the 2021 Royal Rumble where she appeared in the women's match. So yeah, Victoria is back with WWE, and I think that's just it's just really smart. That's somebody who was almost ahead of the game at the time, especially in WWE at that time, where she became a wrestler. She worked her ass off. There was no prior wrestling experience when she got signed. It was just she impressed. She worked to graft, to hone her craft, and became one of the best women they had there in terms of in-ring workers. Not always in the spotlight as much as probably that in-ring work deserved. But again, like I said, when she made that move to TNA, where there was more focus on the actual wrestling, just absolutely tore it up. So yeah, congratulations to her on the nostalgia deal. Speaking of TNA, because we mentioned TNA there, a couple of NXT stars made appearances at the latest set of TNA TV tapings. So there are spoilers here. I'll give you a few seconds. There we are. If you stuck around, let's get into it. Now, this is something that's been picked up on by the Wrestling Observer, by Fightful and the usual outlets. Fan pictures posted on social media. So we've got Ariana Grace and Carmen Petrovich made appearances at yesterday's batch of TNA TV tapings. Now, for Petrovich, she challenged Jordan Grace for the Knockouts title in a match that will air in the coming weeks. And there's no details on what role Ariana Grace played on these tapings. There are pictures of her there where she's out on the stage with I was going to say time travel, it's not really called that these days, is it? The video wall, we'll go with that. Nice and simple. And there's no details out there on what she got up to. But for me, it's a no-brainer. One has to hope that there's some sort of interaction at those tapings between Ariana Grace and Santino Marella. Now, if you've not been keeping up with TNA, Santino Marella these days is the on-screen director of authority for TNA. But also, away from that, behind the cameras, he is also the real-life father of Ariana Grace. So it's like, you have to have those two, especially just even if you didn't know that, just the characters, because they are very not comedic characters necessarily, but they're very, yeah, there's a lot of comedy at play. Ariana Grace, for somebody so young, relatively into the business, is just, I know some people use it as a dirty phrase, but she's just a very promising sports entertainer. Just she gets that side of it really well. Just such a good character, such a good personality. Whether that will ever transition to the main roster and how that would work on the main roster remains to be seen. But there's always a spot for those sort of characters in professional wrestling. I mean, people still talk about Santino Marella to this very day. People still think about Santino Marella in certain moments to this day. And he wasn't the most serious of characters at all. But these two are just the latest in a batch of long names now. of TNA and NXT talents who've crossed the line, to coin a phrase from TNA. Riley Osborne was at TNA Emergence on Friday. You've had Wolfgang turn up, Dante Chen, Izzy Dame, the No Quarter Catch crew, Tatum Paxley. Then the other side, you've had Jordan Grace, Frankie Kazarian, Ash by Elegance, the Rascals turn up in NXT. Of course, tonight is NXT No Mercy, where you've got Zachary Wentz against Wesley. You've also got TNA's Joe Hendry, say his name, and he appears. I'd say it's going to pop up my door at some point in a minute, against Ethan Page for the NXT Championship. So that should be a good show. We're doing well this weekend. I thought Bash in Berlin. Let us know in the comments what you thought about Bash in Berlin. I thought Bash in Berlin was a very, very fun show. I was just the Gunther Randy Orton match, chef's kiss. Just Gunther, man, what a beast. And Randy Orton just carries on this wave of, he's just really enjoying himself wrestling, and it comes across so well. What a match. Was just selling. What a wonderful thing. Who'd have thought that if you sell stuff in wrestling matches, that it gets the crowd really invested into it? Anyway, right, let's move over to the fallout from Bash in Berlin, because as is often the case now these days with these WWE Premium Live events, there was the post-PLE media scrum, press conference, whatever you want to call it. Cody Rhodes kind of essentially took on a little bit of the Triple H mantle there, where he went through some of the more the business side of details, because Triple H had to leave the show early because his eldest daughter was going, was it to college? I think it was. Cody did explain why. But Jade Cargill was somebody who was part of this post-PLE media scrum, and as is commonplace, there was journalists there asking questions, reporters there asking questions, and somebody brought up something that she is tired of talking about, and that topic was AEW. Now, the way it was put to Jade was basically, it's roughly a year since it was announced that she'd signed with WWE. I believe it was September 2023 when she signed, like later on in the month. But we are in September now. It's the 1st of September today. So, hey, I need to remember my mum's birthday's coming up in 2 weeks. So, yeah. But away from that, Jade was asked about how it's been a year since she left AEW, how she's kind of settled into WWE, and the role that Bianca Belair has played in that and helping her. And Jade just said, you know what? I'm so tired of answering questions about AEW. I'm proud to be from there. However, I'm here. The answer is that I'm here, and I want to focus on what's next, and that's solidifying and owning these tag team titles and making a name for herself. So Jade Cargill is done with those AEW questions, because I feel a bit sorry for her, because it does feel like she's so far removed from AEW. It's a year. She only wrestled for a couple of years, period. Jade is still very green to this day, but every single interview, it seems that AEW comes up. I know it's kind of something you want to maybe talk about with her, but whatever she needs to say about AEW has been said, and she's been very complimentary about AEW. She's been very complimentary about Tony Khan, and it's like the question here wasn't really a kind of a piercing, digging question where, like, let's dish the dirt. It was just the fact that AEW had to be mentioned, and she was just like, oh, not again, really, come on, sort of thing. And I can see where she's coming from. I mean, this was it was another big night for Jade and for Bianca Belair, regaining the women's tag team titles from Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Of course, they lost those titles to Fire and Dawn back at Clash at the Castle in June, was it? Yeah, June up in Glasgow, Scotland. So yes, that was Jade's answer when just even AEW was briefly mentioned, was just like, right, come on, guys, I'm in WWE now. I've just won some titles. Can we just talk about this and what's next in our future, rather than constantly looking in the rear view mirror? And I get that. Speaking of somebody who does often have AEW brought up in questions, it's Cody Rhodes. And as I mentioned, he opened the press conference. He kind of took on that Triple H role where he did the more boring, sensible stuff in terms of going through numbers, but and details and specifics. And one specific that he did drop in is the premiere date for Raw on Netflix, and it's one that kind of made sense, because beforehand we knew that Raw in the US anyway was moving to Netflix in January of 2025, and it kind of became a news story this morning, and I'm like, why is it really a news story? In which case, why am I reporting it? I'm reporting it because it's a very slow, I'm aggregating it, because it's a very slow news day here at What Culture Towers. And yeah, Cody Rhodes revealed that it's Monday the 6th of January is the premiere date for Raw on Netflix. Now, this makes all the sense in the world, because, well, Monday the 6th of January is the first Monday in January 2025. But it's a big few weeks and months coming up for WWE in terms of their program, because you've got, is it the 14th of September? Or anyway, in a couple of weeks is when you've got SmackDown moving to the USA Network. You've got the NXT is moving to the CW in October. And then January the 6th, Monday, is when Raw heads to Netflix. And also it's one where I think for international audiences, I know I speak for a lot of us here in the UK, where it's going to be interesting because while in America, United States of America, you've got Raw going to Netflix. We've got everything going to Netflix. Like as of January, it's like Raw's going to Netflix, SmackDown's going to Netflix, NXT's going to Netflix. A lot of the historical content, archival footage, whatever you want to call it, from the WWE network, the specials on the network. Because we still have the network over here in the UK. It's not Peacock, which I believe is a very good thing because I hear nothing but bad things about the Peacock. But then on the other side of that as well, the WWE network, I don't know, the last year or two, they made some changes to the interface and it's like, oh, this isn't quite great. But anyway, that's all moving to Netflix for us lucky people in January of 2025. But that's about it, really. Like I said, it's been a slow news day, so I'm going to crack it out of here. Continue your YouTube journey with this fantastic video that is here. I hope you enjoyed Bash at Berlin. I hope you enjoyed AD Collision if you watch that. I hope you're watching and enjoying No Mercy tonight. But have a great rest of the weekend. I'll catch you later.